Zohran Mamdani won the election in New York City, which is a pretty big deal. He won against Andrew Cuomo, an establishment Democrat figure who's a dynasty, who's been around for, God, his dad Mario was the New York City mayor, I believe. And Cuomo grew up in the governor's mansion, if I'm not mistaken. So this dynasty has existed for a very, very long time. And he was unseated by a progressive. That's a good sign. A very good sign. It means that people are completely sick of business as usual on the left. Now, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there was a center-left policy institute, like a center-left think tank, kind of like the Heritage Foundation for the center-left, who wrote and released a report recently that basically said the left needs to move further to the right to win elections. And this Mamdani win should completely dispel that notion entirely. Like, nobody should be saying something so stupid after the Mamdani win. It's clear as day what the American people want. And on top of that, he won by a lot. It wasn't even close. Okay, it was like a double-digit win. Additionally, Republicans lost in Virginia, the Virginia gubernatorial race, and in New Jersey. Two states that Trump was expecting to win. They lost by a lot. Double digits. Again, the No Kings protest went up. Okay, attendance went up from before. It went up. It went from 5 million in June to 7 million in October. That's big. That shows sustained political involvement that turned into real results, real election results. That is a big deal. In my personal opinion, I don't believe Republicans are going to win another election anytime soon. It's not going to happen, in one man's humble opinion. I think they're and I believe that we're going to see massive extreme action as a result of that realization on the right. We're going to see Trump and others do some psychotic shit because they realize that they are so completely and totally Luckily, the way that our government is structured means that the president can't do anything that can't be reversed by the next guy. Like, laws aren't written by the president, they're written by the legislature. And the president can push people to write laws, but, you know, there are checks and balances, there's judicial review and everything else. So it's a lot harder for the president to do something that can't be reversed. And I believe we're going to see him try everything in his power to sabotage Democrats because he knows that Republicans are completely and totally moving forward. This is something that I saw happening when I was watching ICE raids and everything else. I knew Republicans had gone too far and people weren't going to put up with what happens next. And now we're seeing the results. Republicans are going to lose every election from here on out, in my opinion, just about. That's what Mamdani's victory signals, and Republicans are freaked out by it. I sit here and I wonder, like, what are people afraid of genuinely with Mamdani? What are they actually afraid of? What are they saying? Because I hear a lot of, he's a communist, he's going to destroy the country, but they don't actually tell us what that means, right? Here, taxis will be replaced by camels. Does anybody actually really believe that that's actually going to happen in New York City? Taxis replaced by camels. Women will be forced to cover themselves head to toe. Again, does anyone think this is going to happen? Is this a real fear that lives in your head? People are already allowed to wear niqabs if they want. There's nothing illegal about wearing a niqab if you want to. So they seem to think Mamdani is going to force women to wear a burqa, like force all women to wear a burqa when out in the streets, right? Taxis replaced with camels, all women forced to wear burqas. Is this real? The tweet is, the person really believes it, but is this a real belief in the Republican Party? Are these really the fears that they, are thinking about 24/7? You really think that camels are going to replace taxis in New York City? These people live in another fucking universe. NYPD will be replaced with religious police. You think the NYPD is going to be replaced with religious police? If the NYPD were a military, it would be the second largest military on earth or something like that. I don't remember. If NYC were its own country and the NYPD was its army, it would be the 12th best funded army in the world, just behind Greece and just ahead of North Korea. So you believe the NYPD is going to be replaced with religious police. All hot dog stands will be replaced with goat meat stands. Are these really fears that live in your head? This is f***ing insane. This one is slightly more measured, but still completely out there. This is Ann Vandersteel. She's a QAnoner. I'll tell you more about her in a minute. One last thing about Mamdani and socialism. By the way, they use socialism and communism synonymously. They're not synonymous. They're different things, but okay. Of course, his policies will eventually fail. Everybody knows that. I assume she's talking about the policies that the last person laid down for us, right? Camels replace taxis. Women wear burqas. Goat meat replaces hot dogs. For the record, hot dogs in New York City are already beef hot dogs, not pork hot dogs, because of the Jewish community in New York City. The stands already say halal or kosher or whatever. They all say that. Like all stands, they've always said that. I'm from Manhattan, okay? I lived there for 5 years recently, just recently moved out. So anyway, the policy she's talking about, I can only assume, is replacing already halal hot dogs with goat meat for some reason. And that's going to fail, apparently. Okay. But the moves he'll make while he has that power is what New Yorkers should be worried about, okay? Because New York will become London, New York will become Paris, it'll become Berlin. What does she mean when she says that exactly? You got me. Those are great places. I think it would be fantastic if it were like those places. Now, New York City is its own unique place. It doesn't need to be like anything. He'll gut police budgets, skyrocketing crime, and stabbings. My understanding is he has no intent to gut police budgets. Let me just explain something walking into this. The police is a representation of force, okay? And for better or worse, they carry a gun with them because the state must represent force. It must have a representation of force. If the state doesn't have a representation of force, then people are just going to do whatever they want. So we need police, obviously. Nobody argues that we shouldn't have police, right? Contrary to what these nutcases believe, nobody argues police should not exist. However, there are some cases where police aren't, where the representation of force is not the right thing. We don't need the representation of force to respond to this issue. For example, a kid just gets taken advantage of, or a kid at school is reporting that they were just taken advantage of by their father. We don't need a representation of force for that. We need a social worker to go to the school and talk to the kid and work with them and help them figure out what they're going to do next, where they're going to go. And the representation of force can go to the dad's house and arrest him, right? That's what they're for. But dealing with people who have genuine problems that need to be handled in a more delicate way, that should be done by people who know what they're doing, right? Can we all agree on that? I would like to think. Right now, police show up to the school. Right now, police show up when there's a homeless person who's sitting there on, at the subway station, and somebody calls to have them removed or whatever. The police show up instead of a social worker who can give it a shot first. See if they can get them into a housing unit or something to get them off the street. And if they need mental help, get him committed. Whatever. So Mamdani's plan, this is what it is. He's not planning on reducing the headcount at all. The plan is to send social workers out to handle things that social workers can handle instead of sending the representation of force. Why would you? Force escalates. We don't need escalations, right? In all situations. Ann Vandersteel is a conspiracy theorist to the absolute core. But I have to wonder if she really believes what she just said here. I don't know. Says, he'll gut police budgets, skyrocket crime, and stabbings. No, that's simply false. I wonder why she didn't say shootings. You know why, of course, right? Because she doesn't want to draw negative attention to guns. He'll empower Muslims over everyone else. Halal mandates in schools. Prayer calls blasting from City Hall. Sharia consultants on zoning boards. Do they really believe this? Does she really believe there will be halal mandates at schools? I mean, my kid was in New York City schools until like a few months ago, all the way from middle school. Okay, we know what it's like in New York City schools. There are already kosher options and halal options and stuff. But honestly, the majority of the time, those kids bring their own lunches. In fact, lunches at New York City schools fucking suck anyway. Nobody ever eats the school food, almost ever. Some do, and if they're, they should have kosher and halal options, obviously, for those types of cases. But that food is disgusting and poorly funded and needs work. So this whole nonsense, this is just trash. Halal mandates in schools, this is garbage. Prayer blasting from City Hall? I'm sorry, prayer calls. Apparently she does like prayer calls. She just doesn't like it when another religion does prayer calls. That's my understanding of this. No one is going to blast Muslim prayer from City Hall. This is pure, unadulterated delusion. And Sharia consultants on zoning boards. Has she seen literally any evidence whatsoever, that this guy is corrupt in any way, shape, or form? At all? I'll take literally anything. The answer is no. She's seen no evidence of that because no one has seen evidence of his corruption. But she's, going to lie about it anyway, of course. He'll hand public housing keys to NGOs who will bus in more Muslim illegals. There is no downside to having undocumented or to having immigrants in the country. None. And the only difference between an immigrant and an undocumented immigrant is what we say about it. We, as a society, decide if they're illegal, quote unquote. Anyway, I guess that's the fear. And this is Ann Vandersteel, who should give you a little bit of a better idea of what kind of person she is and how she views the world.
So recently, we saw a lady by the name of Bevelyn Beatty. She made the news the last couple of days in New York City. She was the lady that was going out pouring black paint all over the city, where they had Black Lives Matters that had been painted everywhere. She was covering it up with black paint. And the irony in all of this is you saw the New York police force arrest her, and she's out there evangelizing, get Jesus in your life. And, she's not.
So, her outfit says Jesus matters. She's saying that it looks like the Black Lives Matter hashtag Jesus matters, and she's covering the Black Lives Matter mural or whatever with black paint. This is vandalism. Since when are Trump supporters okay with violence and vandalism? I didn't know they were okay with that. Knock me over with a feather. The point is, this woman is breaking the law and being a piece of shit in the process. She isn't just breaking the law. She's being a scumbag for no reason, vandalizing everything. It's disgusting. And what is Ann Vandersteel's reaction? She was doing the right thing.
Supporting Black Lives Matter. In fact, the New York's finest is, known for turning their back on their mayor because they don't see their mayor as supporting the police department, yet they were.
That's complete bullshit. This was 2020. Actually, that may have, Eric Adams won in 2021, I believe. So yeah, I mean, I suppose I can see them bitching about de Blasio, which is who I believe was mayor under Eric Adams, or before Eric Adams.
See their mayor as supporting the police department, yet they were mandated to arrest this woman. How do you see that?
I don't know how they mandate arresting somebody. I mean, you still have the option to arrest somebody or not to arrest them.
Yeah, they didn't mandate an arrest. What the fuck are you talking about? Seriously. What are you going on about? You're telling me you think that they mandated, the mayor mandated her arrest or whatever the fuck? These people live in another reality, dude. I'm telling you. It's fucking insane.
Somebody can't tell me I have to arrest somebody.
So why do you think they did?
Politics, strictly politics. They don't want to upset Black Lives Matter, which is just a political organization trying to overthrow our current government. That's all.
What? BLM trying to overthrow the government? Anyway, these people are not only disgusting, but they genuinely live in another reality where they believe that taxis will be replaced by camels, where they think that, oh, there was more to this. He'll let CARE dictate hate crime definitions that only protect one faith, and he will follow the Muslim takeover handbook to the letter. The fuck is the Muslim takeover handbook? Let me see if I can find out here. I've never heard of that before. He'll prioritize mosque expansions while churches get taxed into oblivion. Churches aren't taxed. What are you smoking? There is no Muslim takeover handbook. This is just made up. This is not real. This is fake. These people are beyond saving. I'm not talking to Trump supporters anymore. I am talking to people who are not deranged and fucking delusional from here on out. What policies do we think are going to destroy New York City? Seriously. If you are a MAGA, tell me in the comments which policies. And don't fucking say taxis being replaced by camels. Jesus Christ, people.